A little while ago, we had a fun little competition called The Weakest Geek, and it went down pretty well because it had really kind of very little to do with Linux, and it was pretty funny and hilarious, I think. So, in the interests of producing content that is unfathomable, we have a brand new competition that is called the Bad Voltage Versification Perversification Competition. Now, let me explain this very briefly how this is going to work. It's basically a poetry competition, right? So I posted a message to the forum last week at community.badvoltage.org and said, we're going to have a poetry competition, mainly because Brian thinks he's so good at poetry and we want to show him up.
God damn it.
But here's the thing. The community get to suggest the words, right? So the community went in there and suggested all kinds of words, most of which we can't say.
I was going to say, and they did
spell.
not disappoint.
Right, that we have to use in our poems. And then what we've got to do is we have to use those words in each poem. So if the word is used more than once, we have to use that more than once in the poem. And then we will present the poems on the show. Now, the winner of the poetry competition then gets to choose a community member who made their life particularly difficult and punish them by choosing an image for them to change their avatar forum to. So that's avatar on the forum too. So that's basically how this works. Now, we were saying, obviously this is a poetry competition. This is a work of literary genius. And we need someone who is going to be able to provide that level of intellect and insight and creative. I'm running out of long words to say, but basically a genius who can come on here and judge this competition fairly. So who better than Leslie Hawthawn from Elasticsearch, formerly of Google and Red Hat and elsewhere. Leslie, how are you doing?
Very well, thanks, Jono. Also, it's good to know that I have you completely snowed that I am classy, intelligent, and ingenious. So, woohoo, rock on!
Yeah.
There it is.
You're doing a good job. So, Leslie, you're gonna walk us through this. We're going to go through each person one by one. You're going to mention the words they've got to say. So, over to you.
All right, so let's go ahead and get started with Brian, and I'll go ahead and read out your word list before we listen to your gorgeous poetry. Mm-hmm. And good luck to you, because some of these words I cannot properly pronounce.
Good, me neither.
Steatopipic, Unilinuxy, Eratographomania, Dono, Love, Elementary OS, Hide, Minger, Numpty.
Go. Here we go. This is a poem that's not about Jono. I swear to God, it's not about Jono. Listen, I'm telling you, it's not about Jono. It's not about Jono. It's not about Jono. It's not about his love for Elementary OS. That passion grows deeper with each caress. All through the night, Britishy cries of, oh yes, and other weird shit, but I digress. I've got an idea. Let's talk about Stuart. Please, oh dear Lord, let us talk about Stuart and sing of his love for the parallel port, the most numpty minger to be queen consort. Those Scots have a nickname for him, indeed. Feckin' limey bastard with a red heed. And his underwear is, naturally, made from fine tweed. I don't know why I wrote that. Probably the weed. What was I talking about? Oh, right, not Jono. Hey, that guy Jeremy, he's also not Jono. Guess what rhymes with Jono? Bono rhymes with Jono. Luckily, this poem is in no way about Jono. Jeremy is a man who is not un-Linuxy. His erotographomania is always DRM-free. He watches MTV down in Tennessee while sniffing potpourri. And that's why I screen his caller ID. Oh geez, I better wrap this poem up quick. Luckily, it's pretty rad, so I think it'll do the trick. Fish, stick, drop kick, sleepy dick. I bet you guys were wondering how I was going to work in steatopigic.
Yeah! There we go.
Bangarang.
So I'm deeply impressed, but I have to point out a fatal flaw here, which is, as we all know from, his long and storied career, it's always all about Jono. So
always, yeah.
Yeah, that is true. That is true.
Very good.
That was quite good.
All right.
And I appreciated your use of steatopigic.
Oh, thank you. I like that I got the chance to rhyme something with sleepy dick, so that was a big moment for me.
Career highlight, quite possibly.
Very nice. All right, so Jeremy, you're up next, and here is your word list. Gongoozler, pseudo-perpendicular, autogonostophilia. I'm so glad I don't know what these mean.
You're especially glad on that one.
Answers, dauber, straw mash, and once again, Numpty makes a lovely reappearance.
And I'll point out, because Leslie's reading from Jono's list from the forum, that Jono forgot aluminium or aluminum, which I did work in.
Oh, it's totally aluminium.
Yes.
I actually wrote a verse for both and chose between them, and I ended up going with the aluminum verse. But
Yeah.
Well prepared. Very nice.
Take it away, Jeremy.
all right. As I pick up the mic I left on the stage of the community forum, I hope as I get going, the three of you numpties can keep your decorum. Although I live by the Erie Canal terminus, I'm no gongoozler, and I didn't promote the Mars One project because I'm no bamboozler. I'm not sure why Craig Maloney picked the word autogenistophilia, but I'm pretty sure on that one, the Marquis de Sade is the only one who'd feel ya. While its improbable Stewart has a pseudo-perpendicular dauber that's Stramish, I'm happy to say I don't know the answer for sure, lest my cerebral cortex I'd have to demolish. You Brits invented the language, but some of your pronunciations are just dumb. We won the war, we get to decide, so from now on, aluminum. I must concede that in reality none of my co-presenters can be classified as a numpty, although I'll go out on a limb here and guess none of them can dance. Not even the Humpty. Since I used 4 of my words in a single sentence, I'm out already, but I'll continue my dosage, because we all know the show doesn't really start until I say, and now, bad voltage.
Nice.
There it is.
I am deeply impressed, but I have to ding you for your use of aluminum now that I live across the pond.
It was a tough choice.
Yeah, you suck. You suck, Jeremy.
Dude, way to represent.
Wow. I have to say, I'm not feeling very good about my poem at this point.
I'm not feeling good about pronouncing your word list, so. Okay.
That was very impressive.
Are we ready to head over to Stuart to wax poetic for us?
Oh, I can do that.
All right, sir. Your word list is Wow.
Prestidigitation.
I feel like I have not done sufficient research. Flossin-nossin-hippolyfication. My lord, I'm glad I don't know what that is either. Sounds like bird flu. Diaspora. Watermelon-esque. Cocksackle. Humble. Compassionate. Bossack. Scunner. Numpty.
Okay.
Wow us.
Yeah, I don't know what the rest of the words mean either. Right.
I think we're probably in a very good place there.
From minute little acorns, great oak trees might grow. At least that's what we said when we set up this show. To amuse and enlighten, bicker and crack as a hedge for the day when we all get the sack. And the show's verbal methods, prestidigitation, or perhaps flocky-knocky nihilipilification. That's the action or habit of calling it worthless. Like our podcasting rivals, remarkably mirthless. Because of our secret weapon, our argument lion. The jocks call him a boresack, but I call him Brian. A man with a scunner for equitable fight, even given those times he's unwelcomely right. Mr. Bacon, who had the original idea and is forced into playing our sound engineer. Because the hell with Ubuntu. Incentivised prize. Contribution to beardage. Or grand larceny of pies. Then there's Jezza, the sole beard among us in fashion, and the one in the team with an ounce of compassion. Always ready to seize, opportunity knocks. Grab the low-hanging fruit, if he stands on a box. Last, a ginger who thinks over fondly of fondant, the poet of poets, your humble respondent. A wit that's incisive, a manner burlesque, and a figure, alas, rather watermelon-esque. Now, for judging. Which numpty best summoned their powers? Give the garland to them. And then argue for hours over which forum poster will choose as our lackey and who made the worst pun around words like cocksackie. Go tweet it, or Facebook, or Windows Explorer, or what my teammates insist should be called diaspora, because we don't want this place feeling quiet as a morgue. So come join us, community.badvoltage.org.
Yeah, nice.
That was good. That was good.
Stuart, that was quite lovely, but I just wanted to let you know that John Dunn called and he would like his acorn oak tree metaphor back.
I know, I'm sorry.
Beautiful verse in the fine English British tradition. All right,
Very
Jono,
good.
I am not even going to try to pronounce your first word. Can you pneumono ultra? What on earth?
Pneumono ultramicroscopic silicovolcanoconiosis.
Stuart, you amaze and delight at all times. Well done. Mammoth Rept, Kale, Brian, Taste, Mandible, Freckle-Knuckle, and Numpty.
Once upon a midnight scale, while I pondered cabbage and kale, over many a quaint and curious volume of forgotten Brian, while I nodded, actual numpty, suddenly I became all grumpy. As of someone gently furkle-knuckling at my chamber door. 'Tis some mammoth rept, I muttered, tapping at my chamber door. Only this and nothing more. I distinctly remember it was in bleak December, and each separate dying ember wrought its ghost upon the new mono ultra-microscopic silico volcano caliosis. Motherfuckers. Eagerly I wished the morrow. Vainly I'd sought to borrow from my books a cease of sorrow, sorrow for the lost Lenore, drier sheets, for the rare and radiant mandible, from the angel's name Lenore, drier sheets, nameless taste forevermore. Deal with it.
Jono, why are you eating dryer sheets?
I don't know.
Also,
I don't know what Lenore is. But I know it's a brand of dryer sheets. In
Two
England.
things. First of all, the Lenore, which is stuff in dryers, is not Lenore from the Edgar Allan Poe poem. Secondly, Poe has literally just exploded in his grave, wherever it is.
With the not eating dryer sheets.
Yeah.
So,
I admit that I somewhat inspired that poem from Edgar Allan Poe.
A little bit.
okay, judging.
Love it.
So, all right. So, the moment of truth. Leslie, you beautiful, insightful woman.
Excellent. Thank you so much for that. Wow, this is a really tough call. I'm deeply torn. We've got Syl with his beautiful, fine English verse tradition. We have Jono who's braving, the test of imbibing certain laundry chemicals for our edification. Oh, my goodness. And Jeremy with his aluminum, which is true for where he sits. But I think, gentlemen, I'm going to have to go with Brian.
Yay!
Good job, Brian.
Oh, that feels good.
I would like to know, sir, just have you already chosen the person that you intend to change their avatar, or
here's the thing. I have not chosen at this point. I will by the end of the show. I assumed I was going to lose to Jeremy, to be honest with you. I thought that was a foregone conclusion. Yeah. No. This is very important that I win, because then I win. So let's go ahead and stick to that. But whoever I do choose is going to get it. You know what? Actually, whatever the guy was that made me choose Heed, H-E-I-D, whoever it was that suggested
that would be Nero.
Neuro,
without even
the
checking,
guy.
I bet you that's Neuro.
Because that's the one. That's because he made me have to do a pseudo almost Scottish accent, and that was very hard for me, and he should suffer for that.
Let me check. Let me check who did he.
Bet you $1 it was Neuro.
It was Neuro.
It's you, man.
So Brian, before Leslie has to run off, what do you want to change his Nero's avatar?
You could change it to anything you want to. For instance, you might want to change it to an English flag, the flag of St. George or something like that, because he'd love that.
That'd be...
And that's what you get when you pick a bunch of Scots words with the hope of laughing quietly at all of us mispronouncing them.
Now, is Neuro
Turnabout
a
is fair
Scottish
play
dude?
here.
Is he Scottish?
Yeah, he's Scottish.
Oh, then we're absolutely
proud of
doing
it.
that. Yes, we're absolutely,
What about
exactly.
the Queen? I mean, the other option is the Queen.
Yes.
Maybe the Queen on a British flag.
What would be more insulting? Just a beautiful picture of the Queen's head or the flag?
That God saves the
Maybe.
Queen picture, I say.
All right, Queen. Queen it is.
Yeah.
We're going
Yeah,
Queen.
or maybe even one of the little signs saying, say no to independence. Well, that's what happens when you pick a bunch of deliberately Scots words in order to laugh at us.
We go
them
simple.
wrong.
We go simple. We're going the Queen. We're going to go the
Yeah,
Queen. I'll
there it is.
All right, we're gonna
find
do
the
the
best
Queen.
picture and I'll put it up in the forum for him.
Victory.
Excellent. And
Excellent.
wonderful. Leslie, thank you so much for joining us to judge the competition.
Thanks for having
and we hope to see you on Bad Voltage at some point again in the future.
sounds lovely.
Yeah, thanks,
Thank you,
Leslie.
gentlemen.
Thanks, Leslie.
Take care, Leslie. Bye.